Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live Through Jesus Weekly Devotions with Courtney Gilmore. On this episode, the one who has all the answers and understands everything. This is inspired from 1 Kings 10 in the lesson that's called Asking, Receiving, and Reflecting the Lord. So, what would you do if you had a friend that came to you and said, "Hey, I just went to this guy and he answered every single question I've ever had in my whole life and explained everything to me that I didn't understand"? If that was me, I would be like, "Who is this guy? Where can I find him? Will he meet with me?" And if she says, "Yes, I can give you all that information," then I would start writing down immediately every question that I wanted to know the answer to and everything that I couldn't understand. And then I'd probably start numbering them in order of importance just in case he wouldn't give me all the time to ask all of the questions that I wanted to ask. And then I would rearrange my schedule and I would save money and I would prepare all of the travel and I would probably try to find the most valuable thing I could find to give to this man so that he would spend as much time with me as possible. And once all of that was done, I would hurry to go find this guy because that is how important and valuable wisdom and understanding is, right? I mean, you can't put a price on something like that because it's something that you really can't find. But this is exactly what happened to the Queen of Sheba with Solomon. After David died, God came to Solomon and he said, "What would you like for me to give to you?" And Solomon said, "Well, you've given me the throne, and that's wonderful, except I don't really know what I'm doing." And so I guess I want wisdom so that I can rule over these people well and discernment to know the difference between good and evil. And God was so pleased that Solomon didn't ask him for a long life or wealth or the death of his enemies, that he said, "I will give you a heart of wisdom and discernment, and I'll also give you riches and honor." And so he gave Solomon more wisdom than any man before him or any man after him. And he gave him riches and honor that exceeded all of the kings that were around at that time. In Daniel 2:21 to 22, it says, "He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. He reveals deep and secret things." And that's what he's done for Solomon. And this made Solomon very famous. And so the Queen of Sheba, who lived in Yemen, traveled for months just to meet with Solomon and see what all of the fuss was about. And she loaded her camels with spices and gold and precious stones so that she could give those things to him so that maybe he would spend some time with her. And when she got to him, it says she tested him with hard questions. And she talked with him about everything that was in her heart. And nothing that she asked Solomon was too hard for him to answer or too difficult for him to explain to her. And when she saw his wisdom and his wealth, she said, "This I couldn't even understand until I saw it with my own eyes. And this isn't even, and I wasn't even told the half of it." It's like, I can't even believe how wise and how much wealth you have. And when I read this story, I was like, how amazing would it have been to be the Queen of Sheba, to have all of your questions answered and everything explained to you that you didn't understand. And then I noticed that it said nothing was hidden from the king that he wasn't able to explain to her, as if someone was feeding him this information and didn't hide any answers from him. And that person was God. And I realized I do have the ability to go to someone exactly like the Queen of Sheba did, because Solomon wasn't generating these answers on his own, and it wasn't like he had studied forever to understand all of these things. God had given him this wisdom and discernment. God was the source, and Solomon was just the vessel that he had chosen to work through. Job 28:12 says, where can we find wisdom and where is the place of understanding? And down in verse 28, it says, behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding. So we find wisdom and understanding by honoring the Lord as the source of that and going to Him, fleeing from evil and going to the Lord for these answers. And so the Queen of Sheba went to Solomon because she didn't know Solomon's God. But I do. I have access to the same one that gave Solomon all of the wisdom that he had. So she was going to the king of Israel, but I can go to the king of heaven and earth. And I can ask all of the questions that I have and ask God to explain all of the things that I don't understand. And unlike my friends and my family, and my preachers and my teachers, and the experts and the counselors, God actually has all of the answers. He actually understands everything. And so then I thought, why don't I do that? Why don't I treat God like I would this person if my friend came and told me about him? Why am I trying to figure things out on my own or try to figure out who to call or who to meet with when I have access to the one that has all of the answers and none of those people even have all the answers? I never am as smart as I think I am. My friends and my family don't usually have any more insight than I do. The preachers and the teachers are relying on their own wisdom most of the time. And the experts are limited to their own field of expertise. And so, why don't I just go to God knowing that He's the one who is perfect and omniscient? He knows everything, and yet I don't treat Him like that. Instead, I'm spinning my wheels and stressing myself out, trying to figure out all of the answers whenever He has them all and I have access to Him. I don't have to make an appointment. He always answers when I call. And He gives me as much time as I need, right? I don't have to make my list and hurry through it and all of that. God will give me as much time as I need. And so, why don't I go to Him? And so I started thinking about it and I thought, well, I do ask God for wisdom and I ask Him for guidance and I ask Him for discernment, but it's like very general. It's like exactly like that. It's just, God, give me wisdom, help me know what to do. And if I do ask for anything specific, it's like a big decision that I have to make. But I don't just go to Him and say, God, what do I do here? It's more like, guide me, show me, help me to see what it is that I need to do here, open and shut doors so that I can understand. But it's like, why don't I just go to Him like He's this king that has all of the answers? Because He is. And so why don't I just say, what do I do? I have this decision to make and I don't know what to do. What should I do, God? Not that it's wrong to be asking for guidance and wisdom and discernment and open and closed doors, but it's like, why don't I go to Him more confidently, more boldly? And why don't I just ask the question directly? Hebrews 4:16 says, let us come to the throne of grace with boldness, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in our time of need. And so, why don't I do that? Also, understanding. There have been times whenever I'm reading the scriptures and I'm like, I do not understand that. And I go to God and I say, I do not get this. Please help me understand it. But most of the time, I'm doing that because I know I'm going to have to explain it to you guys and I don't understand it myself. And so I need God to help me. But there's a lot of these scriptures that I've read for years and I've never understood them. And I never thought to ask God. The only time I thought to ask God is when I'm like, I got to have an answer to this because I'm going to be explaining it to a big group of people and I need to know what to say. And then there's also been times where I really have said, God, I don't know what's happening. I'm confused. I'm upset. I'm desperate. I need to understand. Things are really bad right now and I'm heartbroken and I'm hurt and I need answers. And God, in that time, in that specific time that I'm thinking about, was gracious enough to give me comfort and help me understand what was going on, what He was doing, and how He was working in my life, even though I didn't see it at the moment. But all of that was done out of desperation. It's done out of an absolute need to either get the answers right now so I can explain them to someone, or to get the answers right now because I am so upset that I have no other option. I've gone to other people, they can't answer my questions, and so I come to God. But I don't just go to Him on a regular daily basis and just say, I don't understand this. Every time that I don't understand something, I don't just say, God, I don't understand this. Help me to understand. Every time that I am trying to figure out what to do, I don't say, what do you want me to do? Every question that I don't have the answer to, I don't just go to Him and say, what do I do here? Or how does this work? Or what is the correct answer here? And so this new year, that is one of my resolutions, is that I'm going to practice going to God first and not trying to figure things out on my own, not trying to find what expert or friend or, spiritual advisor or whatever that I can go to that can help me. I'm going to try really hard to remember to talk to God first and to just ask Him specifically and directly, what do I do here? How do I do this? Give me the answers and help me understand. Because the Queen of Sheba didn't have access to God, but I do. And so I can go to Him directly. I can go straight to the source. And as His child, He tells me that He wants me to participate in His nature. And part of His nature is being wise, is knowing things. In 2 Peter 1:4, it says that He has granted us His precious and magnificent promises so that by them we may become partakers of His divine nature. So that's what He wants for me. So I'm going to start going to Him and asking Him. And maybe you already do this. Maybe you're better at this than I am. But if you're not, I invite you to join me this year in practicing going to God and asking Him directly on a regular basis for the answers that you need and the understanding that you need. James 1:5 says, but if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives to all generously and without reproach, and it'll be given to him. So He says He will give us wisdom if we ask for it. So I'm going to try to start asking Him for specific answers, and I invite you to do the same. That's all I have for today. If you would like these blog posts emailed to you, then go to LivethruJesus.substack.com. You can become a free subscriber there, and I'll email you all of the blog posts as I have them written. And then you can also access all of the past blog posts anytime that you want to. And then if you would like the lesson that this came from, you can become a paid subscriber there for $6 a month or $60 a year, and you'll receive all of the lessons that go along with each of these blog posts. And then join me on social media at LivethruJesus, and I'll be posting scriptures from these lessons and also clips from the lessons. And that's all I have for today. I'll see you back next week. Thanks, and have a good day.